One of the things I think that you said is beautiful is like you create your identity, then the result comes.
Yeah.
Now, I think a lot of us have the ability to change our identity internally, but we have fear to share it externally.
Yeah.
Now, you recently kind of wrestled with this. You were talking about when you fly in an airplane, you sit next to people, what do you do?
Yeah.
How has your life changed once you've owned that identity both internally and externally versus just honing it internally and being afraid to share it with the world?
The everything else gets sabotaged. That's not that. Here's a great example. So to your point, it's like my airplane test.
Yeah.
What I say to myself in my bedroom when nobody's around and nobody's going to judge me might be at one point like a podcaster. That's my identity.
Yeah.
Even though my income, my efforts, my work was all in real estate, but I really love podcasting. The podcasting is not paying me anything, but that's the identity I wanted to claim. I really wanted that. But when I got on a plane, I'm sitting next to somebody and I'm flying out of Punta Cana or whatever, and they're like, "So what do you do?" Like this, person in a button-down shirt, that looks very professional. Like, I don't want to say I'm a podcaster.
Right.
It sounds goofy. But I know that if I do, that I've leveled up that claim to that identity. So I started doing that. I'm a podcaster. And some people would ask some really condescending questions, or at least I perceived them as condescending. Some people would say some stupid shit. A lot of people were really inspired by that, to be honest with you. But what instantly started happening was the real estate stuff started falling away. You know what I mean? Like it was getting sabotaged. So I stepped back from my role with Quantum, for instance, in marketing and capital raising, right? I had to step back from that because like everything was rolling toward this. Yeah. Today, podcaster is a component, but I really like the word creator as an identity.
So when you were telling people on the plane, I'm a podcaster, at some point did that not really resonate and like light you up? And is that what helped you create the awareness of you're a creator? Or was it just naturally you kind of moved that way?
No, I think so. No, it's not that it didn't light me up, but it's like anything. Like you don't know until you do.
Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent of ready, fire, aim, not ready, aim, fire. I think you learn after you fire, and then you can aim. So for me, podcaster felt like a big, scary, crazy identity. And so when I did it, I said it, and it's true. I love podcasting. I love the art of podcasting. One of my favorite things to do. But even beyond that, I realized like it's one component of things I like to do around being creative. So at the end of the day, I like to say I'm a creator. I'm a content creator, something like that. Like that feels like the true alignment of identity for me as creator. Podcaster is a component of that.
Yeah.
So it's not that podcaster didn't feel good. It maybe just felt like, man, it's a step forward, but it's not the full step forward.
Yeah, it's like a subcategory of the category.
Correct. And maybe there's something beyond that, I don't know. But right now, content creator feels very aligned.
Well, from my perspective, I listened to many of the podcasts you hosted. You not only were very good at asking questions, you did a ton of work leading into the interviews. Like you really studied, you took it very seriously. And many people that I've talked to said you are one of the best interviewers they've ever heard. Right. Now, they never said you were the best, unfortunately, but you were one of the best, right? And you interviewed hundreds of people. I don't know the amount. It was 400 people.
Yep.
What would you say the number one lesson you learned from all those interviews would be?
Boy, number one.
Top three, if it's easy.
Top three?
Yeah, that's easy.
Collaboration, manipulation, and abundance.
Tell me about manipulation.
Those
That's
are my
favorite
top three.
word.
I know it is. Influence might be the better phrase or the more socially acceptable phrase or whatever. The tip of it was the CIA guy, Andrew Bustamante. Like he got deep into manipulation, like the actual phrase, like how marketing manipulates you and so on and so forth. I would say that what I learned from him and from that interview, and then after that interview, kind of going back to other interviews and even future interviews that I had, it's like, this is a kind of a you principle. Like we're all trying to get something from somebody, right? Yeah. And the person who is the most effective with manipulation, influence, whatever phrase you want to use.
I love manipulation. Just most people hate it. I think it's the best word ever.
It's what it is, right? Yeah. Now you can use manipulation in a positive way. You can use it in a negative way, or at least how somebody might assign meaning to that. But you can use manipulation that is not in the best interest of somebody and manipulation that is in the best interest of somebody. But what I loved about it was he was talking about at one point, hey, look, if the economy is bad, and this is happening, well, I can determine the attributes of my offer that best serve bad economy. Now, if the economy turns around and it goes good, then I know what attributes of my offer serve good economy, right? Like why you should in a good economy. Yeah. So that to me was really something. Initially, it probably felt a little bit like you're tricking people, but if you believe in what you have, if you believe in your product, if you believe in whatever it is that you offer to the world, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it's the right way to go about it. Like, get more people in it. The methodology is less important than the impact that it'll make. So manipulation was a big one. Collaboration and manipulation was like introduced to me by Christopher Lochhead, CMO for multiple tech companies, and like in my face with Grant Cardone. Collaboration. Yeah. When I went to his office, 10X Studios, to do the podcast with Cardone, I mean, everything there felt like him. The doorman, the people at the front desk, the bullpen with all the salespeople, right into that office, into that studio. And I asked him a question at one point, based on probably the Christopher Lochhead interview from like 2 years before, and I said, "Hey, when you are confronted with the category king, do you go directly at that category king, or do you try to create a new category?" And he said, "Man, in the beginning, it was all about competition." He's like, and I would go right after that category king. He goes, "Now I've learned the power of collaboration." He's like, "So I'd rather carve out a new category and partner than go directly at that category king." So the combination of the idea that we all can own a category, and I'll get into that in a second because there's something really interesting in that, but also that collaboration beats competition from a guy that, like him, love him, hate him, whatever, is a true billionaire. And even I probably have 5 billionaires that I've met. All of them are very collaborative. So collaboration was another lesson that I learned in that. And abundance was the third. But
talk to me about the category piece.
Yeah. So when Christopher Lochhead, I interviewed him, he was talking about how 74% of all attention and revenue in a specific category goes to the category king. Kleenex owns tissues, whatever. When you carve out a new category, 26% then are fighting everybody else is then fighting for 26% of that category, right?
Right.
But if you're one of those 26% who say does tissues with lotion in it, like Puffs Plus, now you got a new category. Yeah. Now you're the king of tissues with lotion, right? Yeah. So it's a matter of like finding the category and becoming the king of that category instead of trying to fight for attention in that category. My personal brand, I am absolutely the category king in my personal brand.
What category?
Dominican Republic real estate investing and lifestyle, specifically. Yeah. There's a lot of lifestyle people. A lot of people that talk about minimalist lifestyles. A lot of people that talk about moving there. A lot of people that talk about vacationing there, best resorts, this, that, and the other. When I go into ChatGPT and I ask it for examples of topics based on news cycles or news articles I've seen, it'll often spit out like, here's a video you might be interested in, and it's my video.
Wow.
Crazy.
How does that make you feel?
Amazing that I've carved out that category. Yeah. But that was all lessons from the podcast. Like understanding, like, don't go at the category king. There's plenty of people in the influencer space in my niche that are like, oh man, the Dominican Republic, moving there, living there, da-da-da-da. None of them are going macroeconomic or microeconomic on what's happening in the U.S. economy that impacts the Dominican economy. What semiconductors are doing, going from China into the Dominican Republic. A company called World Emblem, largest logo manufacturer in the world, just moved operations from China to Santiago, Dominican Republic. I did a video on it. Wow. The CEO of World Emblem just called me and asked me if I would interview him.
Wow.
Like, that's category king shit.
Yeah.